The Pixels are here. I mean, we had already seen them all pretty much on renders and leaks and everything, but they're officially here. We've got the Google Pixel 7, the 7 Pro, as well as the Pixel Watch. There's so much to talk about. Let's get to it. This video is sponsored by O2 SwitchUp. Stay tuned to find out how you can change your current phone for a new one whenever you like, as many times as you like. So the unboxing experience is identical for both devices. We are initially presented with the Pixels. As well as that, there is a USB Type-A to USB Type-C converter, a USB Type-C cable, a little pack with a SIM card tool, as well as this really small little cute booklet. And here they are. We will be checking out the Pixel Watch a little bit later, but as you can see from the design of the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro, things are very familiar. They do look a lot like the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro. Now we can bring in the Pixel 6 for a side-by-side comparison, and you'll notice that the visor is now slightly lower on the Pixel 7, and also we have a metal visor now. Last year we had a glass visor, and at the front again things are quite similar with the punch outs, but we do have smaller bezels on the Pixel 7. Now bringing in the Pixel 6 Pro versus the 7 Pro, again, that visor is metal, although it's a glossy metal on the 7 Pro. And we do again have a triple camera module, but the design has now been refreshed. And looking at the front, again, very similar. I'd say the bezels are about the same on the 7 Pro versus the 6 Pro, although the sides are not as curved on the 7 Pro compared to the 6 Pro. Right, that's last year's comparisons out the way. So we do have Gorilla Glass Victus on the back of both of these devices. Both are IP68 water and dust resistant. And I'd say the main difference between these two is the fact that we've got this satin finish on the frame and the visor on the Pixel 7, and the 7 Pro has this polished finish. Personally, I prefer the satin finish. For colors, the Pixel 7 comes in either the lemongrass, this snow, or the obsidian. I don't know why they just don't call it black or gray, but anyway. And the Pixel 7 Pro is available in a hazel, a snow, as well as this obsidian, or basically black. I've got the snow and the black version here. Now I've got to say, personally speaking, I do like the design. I think these are quite unique, and although they are incremental updates compared to last year, I mean, I wasn't expecting Google to do anything drastic anyway, because it was a brand new design last year. Again, I think these do stand out, and you really know that they are Pixels. Right, now let's flip these over and look at the displays. So we have a 6.3-inch display on the Pixel 7. The 7 Pro has a larger 6.7-inch display, and it is overall a superior display. We have up to a 120 Hz refresh rate versus 90 Hz. We've got Quad HD Plus resolution. So overall, things are going to be sharper and smoother on the 7 Pro. It's also got a slightly higher peak brightness of 1500 nits compared to 1400 nits. But I'd say the biggest difference between these two is that the Pixel 7 Pro is using LTPO technology, so it can go all the way down to just 10 Hz, which means it's going to make it a bit more efficient. And especially if you're using the always-on display, the Pixel 7 Pro will be able to go down to 10 Hz and save on some battery life. Now we have an in-display fingerprint scanner on both devices, and it seems to work okay. It's not as fast as some of the others. If I just tap quickly, it's not going to do anything. I do have to tap and leave it there for a second. And we also have Face Unlock if you'd like to use it. I personally wouldn't rely on Face Unlock because it is just the single camera. Now, before we talk about the cameras, a quick thanks to our sponsor for this video, O2 SwitchUp. So doing what I do, I get to switch up my smartphone pretty often, and it's great to be able to try out all of the different offerings out there. And you can do the same with O2 SwitchUp. O2 has launched SwitchUp to give customers the freedom to change their current phone for a new one whenever they'd like, as many times as they'd like. SwitchUp is available on Plus plans automatically, free of charge, and can be added to a custom plan for just $3.99 a month. And as an O2 SwitchUp customer, you can switch to a new phone whenever you like by simply going into an O2 store and trading in your current device. And with no limits on how long customers need to have had their current phone or how long is left on their current contract, switching is easier than ever. If you want to find out more about O2 SwitchUp and how you can sign up, check out the link in the description below. Right, now talking about the cameras, the front-facing cameras are identical. We've got 10.8 megapixels, Fixed focus, we don't have autofocus. Lots of the competition do now have autofocus from the front-facing cameras, although I really do like the look of Pixel selfies. But the main cameras, of course, are at the back. Dude, don't forget the camera comparison. Yeah, I got it. Cool. And as SideSaf has just reminded us, I have been working on a Super SAF style camera comparison of the Pixel 7 Pro versus the iPhone 14 Pro Max. That will be live very soon, maybe today, maybe tomorrow. You'll only find out if you subscribe and hit that bell icon, so don't forget to do that. So the primary camera is actually exactly the same on both devices. It's a 50 megapixel camera, optical as well as electronic image stabilization, and it also has laser detect autofocus. The ultra-wide camera, however, is different. So 12 megapixels on both. However, the Pixel 7 Pro does have a slightly wider field of view, and it also has autofocus, which means you are going to be able to get macro shots with it too. And the Pixel 7 Pro does have the dedicated optical zoom telephoto camera, 48 megapixels, and this is going to give you around 5 times optical zoom. However, it can give you up to 30 times super res zoom. Now, Google, with all of its software magic, does give you some good results when it comes to zoom. So I'm looking forward to testing this out against some of the competition. Now, some of the things that Google has talked about, Real Tone is one of the things which uses AI to get more accurate skin tones, especially for people that look like me. And we do have improved Magic Eraser. This is where it's going to remove people from the background of your images. This can work, but it just depends on how busy the background is. And one feature that's pretty interesting and exciting is photo unblur. So if you take a picture and it's a little bit blurry, then it should be able to sharpen it for you. This is quite difficult to test, trying to deliberately make a photo blurry, but I'll see what I can do. But what I'm more interested in is the video. We do have 4K 60 frames a second. So far, the video is looking pretty good from what I've been testing. However, I do not have cinematic blur as yet, so this I'm assuming will be coming in an update. And we will also have 10-bit HDR video. Now, the important thing here is that Google has been working with the likes of Snapchat and TikTok and YouTube to be able to use that HDR video, because traditionally on an Android smartphone, if you do shoot HDR video, you can't really use it in many places. It's not really optimized like it is on iPhones. So this should be quite exciting. Now, internally, we do have more RAM on the Pixel 7 Pro, 12 gigabytes versus 8. You've also got an additional storage option up to 512 gigabytes. And both of these are powered by Google's very own Tensor G2 chip. Now, this might not score the highest in benchmarks, and for Google, it is always about hardware and software and the combination between these two. Although I did have lots of bugs with my Pixel 6 and 6 Pro, so I'm hoping this is not going to be the case with the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro. And speaking of software, these will of course be coming with the latest Android 13 out of the box with 5 years of security updates. And this, alongside the G2, is going to enable some Pixel exclusive features such as built-in VPN with Google One, which is going to be coming a little bit later on. So you're not going to have to get an external VPN. You're going to be able to use Google's very own. I've not used it as yet, and it's not out as yet, so I'll have to reserve my judgment until I have. Improved voice assistant, transcribing your voice notes. That should be really interesting, because if you're out in a loud environment and you can't hear a voice note, Google will transcribe that for you, which will be pretty good. We've got Pixel Call Assist. So this is where if you're calling a company and there's lots of different options, the Pixels will summarize that for you, which is pretty cool. And for the speakers, we do have stereo speakers. So there's one in the earpiece and one bottom firing on both devices. We apparently also have car crash detection. I wasn't aware that previous Pixel devices had this. Obviously, Apple's made a big deal about having this feature on the new 14s. In either case, I'm personally not going to be testing any of these features. And for the batteries, the Pixel 7 Pro, of course, does have a larger 5,000 milliamp hour battery compared to the Pixel 7. However, both do support the same speed of charging, 23 watts, which is not the fastest out there, but you can get 20 watts of wireless charging, and reverse wireless charging is also supported. Right, for pricing. So the good news is that these are starting at roughly about the same price as the Pixel 6s started last year. So the Pixel 6 was going to start at around $600 or £600. The Pixel 7 Pro will start around £850 or $900. However, if you are thinking of getting either of these and you are in the US, then you can use my affiliate code in the description below, which will give you up to $200 of Best Buy credit, as well as up to $400 for a trade-in. Now, I guess the biggest question is, I mean, for £250 or $300 more, should you go for the Pixel 7 Pro compared to the Pixel 7? Well, I think the Pixel 7 would be good for most people. I mean, sure, with the Pixel 7 Pro, you are getting the larger battery, the better display, the telephoto camera, the better ultra-wide camera. However, the primary and the selfie cameras are the same between both of these. But anyway, let's put these to the side and let's look at the Pixel Watch, because this is really interesting. So with the Pixel Watch, you are initially presented with the watch itself. There is some paperwork at the bottom of the box, and then when we get into this package, we do have a shorter strap so you can change this, as well as the charger. And here it is. Now, the first thing I gotta say is I really do like the look of this. It's nice and slick, and I do prefer round watches compared to square. And I just really like how it just blends right into the edges. So it's 41 millimeters in diameter, and this is the only size that you can get. Really light, it's only around 36 grams if you don't include the straps. And we do have an 80% recycled stainless steel finish, 294 milliamp hour battery, which is going to charge from 0 to 50% in around 30 minutes, and a full 100% in around 80 minutes. 32 gigabytes of storage with 2 gigabytes of SD RAM. And most importantly, we've got Wear OS 3.5 with Fitbit. So that's really what it's all about. So we've got Fitbit's most accurate heart monitor, and 6 months of Fitbit Premium will be included. There's Fitbit sleep tracking, crash detection, and fall detection is also coming. Now, in terms of my opinions, it looks really nice, and I like how there's black backgrounds for everything. But if you do look closely, you can notice quite a thick bezel, and it's something that I've seen a lot of people talk about online. Now, I don't know how much that's going to affect you day to day, but looking at lots of other smartwatches, that is something definitely to keep in mind. For pricing, the Wi-Fi only model starts at around £340 or $350, and for the LTE version, it's around £380 or $400. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not somebody who's super active, but what I do like about this right away is how light it is. I generally don't sleep with a smartwatch purely because it's just uncomfortable for me, but being this light, I might actually give it a go. So the Google Pixel 7, the 7 Pro, as well as the Pixel Watch, what do you think of these? Will you be picking them up? Drop me a comment below, let me know your thoughts. Don't forget, there is going to be the Super SAF style camera comparison coming very, very soon. If you want to see that, then be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon. I'll link it in the cards as soon as it's live, as well as a related video here. Hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, don't forget to smash that like button. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on Super Saf TV. I'll see you next time.